Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we are going to discuss sound. It is one of the chapters of physics. Before sound, we have discussed the chapter that is gravitation. What is sound? You might have heard sounds from humans, birds, bells, machines, vehicles, televisions. The sound is a form of energy which produces sensation of hearing in our ears. There is also other forms of energy like heat energy, light energy. Similarly, sound is also a form of energy, or we can say a form of mechanical energy. The mechanical energy is the sum of potential and kinetic energy. This sound is its SI unit is decibel. Now the question is, how is this sound produced? The sound is produced due to a vibration of different objects like vocal cords of human beings. You might have heard sound is produced in birds and animals, bells, vehicles, musical instruments like guitar, veena, violin, piano, flute, shehnai, tabla, drum, and many more. Now there is some examples like tuning fork. You might have heard seen that the tuning fork makes the pendulum bob to oscillate. Tuning fork vibrations were shown in slow motion here, like vibrating tuning fork splashes water. This can be represented through written diagrams. You might have seen when we throw a pebble into the water. What happens? The circles are formed in the water. Similarly, when an object like tuning fork hits pendulum or when it hits plate or other thing, what is done that the vibrations are produced. These vibrations form as consecutive or successive compressions and retractions in the medium, which produces the sound. We can take another example. Vibrating blade produces a sound when it vibrates, or when we cut something it produces a sound. These sounds are produced due to the vibrations produced in these objects. Our production of sound is by some musical instruments like drum, produced by membrane in drum. In flute it is produced by the holes present in guitar, by strings like in veena. There are also strings. In cycle bell there is a resonant metal through which these vibrations are produced or sound is produced. Or this is propagation of sound. Vibrating tuning fork produced a series of compressions and rarefactions in the air medium. This can be discussed further. The first thing is that the sound is produced by vibrating objects. It needs a medium for transmission. The medium can be air, water, or solid, liquid, or gas, through which it cannot travel through vacuum. And the disturbance created by the source of sound in the medium travels through the medium, not the particles of the medium. Now, second question is what are compressions and that is when a vibration is produced, it pushes and compresses the air forward in front of creating a region of high pressure. That is called compression. Similarly, the compression starts to move away from the vibrating object. When the vibrating object moves backwards, it creates a region of low pressure. That is called a rarefaction. So compression is a region of high pressure and rarefaction is the region of low pressure. So that is there that the when object vibrates it creates a region of high pressure and low pressure. The high pressure region is called compression and the region of low pressure is called rarefaction. The air layers vibrate back and forth about their mean position. It is not the sound which moves, but it is a disturbance which are created. So there is no actual movement of air layers from the source of sound to the ears, but the sound energy is getting transmitted from one layer to another in succession. The maximum distance that is covered by or moving by this vibrating object, that is called amplitude of the sound wave, and frequency of the sound wave is measured in hertz. That the frequency is the measurement of number of repeated event which occurs per unit. So frequency is measurement of number of times a repeated event occur per unit time, and the distance between two successive compressions and rarefactions is called a wavelength of. After that, this is again sound wave in air. The wave is a disturbance that moves through a medium when the particles of the medium set neighboring particles into motion. They in turn produce similar motion in others. The particles of medium do not move forward themselves, but the disturbance is carried forward uh, due to back and through moment. This is what happens during propagation of sound in a medium. Here sounds can be visualized as a wave. Sound waves are characterized by the particles in the medium and are called mechanical waves. Air is the most common medium through which sound travels. That is, when a vibrating object moves forward, it pushes and compresses the air in front, creating a region of high pressure, compression, and low pressure. That is rear function. For that, this is an experiment which shows sound needs a material medium to travel, as sound is a mechanical wave and needs a material medium like air, water, steel, etc. for propagation. It cannot travel through vacuum. This Bill Jor experiment showing sound cannot travel in the vacuum. Then there are the characteristics of the sound waves at its material medium, air, water, or solid liquid gas to travel. That is, we can say wavelength. Wavelength, when we talk, it is the distance between two consecutive compressions or two consecutive rarefactions is called the wavelength. Frequency, as already discussed, it is the number of times a repeated event occur per unit time, or number of complete oscillations per unit time is also called frequency. The time taken by a wave for one complete oscillation of the density or the pressure of the medium, it is called a time period. Frequency, it is measured in hertz, so it's SI unit is hertz, but the SI unit of sound is decibels. That is the relationship between frequency and time period is n is equal to 1 by t. And the maximum distance moved by a vibrating air layer on the other side of the original portion is called the amplitude of the sound. After that, we will discuss types of sound waves.